What's up, everybody? Welcome to the next installment of the Furnishing Hogwarts series. As it turns out, the first floor took me forever, and the rest of these are probably going to be a bit on the shorter end. Ah well, at least they shouldn't take me 2 weeks and 10 pages of script to finish. I've had a fun sharing theories and fun facts with you all though. Plus, I've learned quite a bit about the Potter world. I thought I knew a lot before, but now I feel like an expert. We're going to start out our video with the creation of the Defense Against the Dark Arts class. This was probably my least favorite of the classes to make because it has the fewest distinguishing features. I did include the wardrobe that contains the boggart in it, although as I'm typing this I'm realizing it was really more of a chest. I'll change that later. For the most part, when I imagine the Defense Against the Dark Arts class, I imagine Professor Lupin teaching it, even though the professor changes every year due to the curse that Tom Riddle, young Voldemort, put on it. He put the curse on the position when Dumbledore denied his application. Due to its direct connection to the dark arts, many dark wizards applied to the position. In fact, when Voldemort gained control over Hogwarts, he made one of his Death Eaters the professor and changed the name to simply Dark Arts instead of Defense Against the Dark Arts. I don't think the change was lost on the students, especially when the professor Amicus Caro encouraged the use of the Cruciatus Curse on misbehaving students. Anyway, were several professors that taught Defense Against the Dark Arts during Harry's time at Hogwarts. His first professor, Quirinus Quirrell, was timid in nature and stuttered a bunch, making him not a very good professor, and many of the students thought his class was a joke. I mean, the man did have Voldemort's face on the back of his head, leeching off of him like a parasite. He probably had it pretty rough. The following professor was Gilderoy Lockhart, who was an incompetent fraud that used his class to promote his own books, which contained stories he had stolen from other wizards. In fact, most of his homework involved writing poems about his supposed achievements. Many of the students agreed that they didn't learn anything in his class. After that, my boy, Professor Lupin, taught, and is considered to be one of the most effective professors. Being a dark creature himself probably helped, not to mention his background in the original Order of the Phoenix during the First Wizarding War. Combine all that together, and he has a lot of experience combating the dark arts. And he's not even a dark wizard. Crazy! They found a good guy to teach the class. Too bad he only lasted 1 year because it got out that he was a werewolf. After Lupin, it sort of went downhill. Not necessarily in the amount of learning done, but the position was held by increasingly darker individuals. For example, Barnabas Crouch Jr., a Death Eater disguised as Alastor Moody, using the Polyjuice Potion, taught after Lupin, and he showed the students the 3 unforgivable curses. He even performed the Imperious Curse on all of the students to teach them how to resist it. Despite his darker teachings, he really wasn't that bad of a professor. I mean, he taught the students relevant things that they could actually use, so he's definitely higher up in the charts. Crouch was replaced by Dolores Umbridge by the Minister of Magic, Cornelius Fudge, who was convinced that Dumbledore was raising a student army to overthrow the ministry. Ridiculous, am I right? She may not really be considered a dark wizard, but Umbridge was a total witch. She was an awful professor as well. She wouldn't answer any of the students' questions, and her entire class involved them reading theories out of a textbook. And then there was Snape. As we've talked about in a previous part, Snape had a passion for the dark arts. He took a more practical approach to teaching the class and made for a very good instructor. He too had loads of experience with the dark arts, though he had been on the opposite side of Lupin during the First Wizarding War, at least at first. He switched sides a bit after Lily died and became a double agent. Anyway, the point is, the man knew dark magic, and he was an excellent teacher. The final professor during Harry's time was Amicus Caro. I honestly didn't even remember him. I don't think they really introduced him that much in the movies, with Harry being so involved with the Horcruxes and whatnot. He was most certainly a dark wizard. No blurred lines here. The guy was downright evil. I mean, he was put into the role by Voldemort himself, And under his teachings, the students learned how to perform the three unforgivable curses, not they were just shown it. As well as the summoning of Fiend Fire, which is basically a spell that summons fiery beasts that hunt down and consume all living things in its path. Pretty evil, if you ask me. Anyway, we don't know who takes over after Amicus Caro, so the list stops there, and by now we're past the construction of the classroom anyway. So we've just finished up the bathroom, and I'll have to go through the edit later, so I'm making this. So we've just finished up with the bathroom, and I'll have to go through and edit it later since I'm making this video after the release of the Discover University expansion pack trailer, and they've added public toilet stalls. Yay! I'm super excited for the next expansion pack, though I still intend to play with Realm of Magic a bit more. I don't really feel like I've gotten my fill just yet. Plus, we're in the middle of new game release season, so my time has been a bit split between The Sims, Planet Zoo, and I'm sure in the future Pokemon Sword and Shield will eat up my time as well. Why do all of the games I'm looking forward to have to be released within a week of one another? I mean, Pokemon Sword and Shield and Discover University come out on literally the same day. Now that's ballsy. I mean, I guess I don't really know how big of an overlap the two audiences have, but I know there has to be someone out there that's in the same boat as me. And unlike The Sims, who just announced Discover University a few weeks ago, I've been waiting for Pokemon Sword and Shield to come out since February. I mean, honestly, I wish all companies announced games like The Sims team so that I'm not waiting around for months, or even over a year for a game to come out. Anywho, sorry guys, rant over. Currently, we're working on a professor's study. I sort of had Professor Sprout in mind for this study. In case you don't remember her, she taught herbology and was the head of the Hufflepuff House. She introduced the students to Mandrake Root during their first year, which caused Neville Longbottom to pass out. Poor Neville. At least that is the scene that I'm reminded of when I think of her. I wanted the study to look green, warm, and welcoming, with plants everywhere and a cozy reading nook. I really feel like I was able to capture her vibe in this study. I'm quite happy about how it turned out. I'm a huge fan of the whole log cabin-y cozy feel. There's just something so homey about green with gold and brown. I won't go too far into Sprout's Hufflepuff heritage because I'd like to save that for next time. But she seems to be quite experienced. She helped keep the Philosopher's Stone safe by contributing Devil's Snare, which will keep tightening around a person until they are dead unless they expose the plant to fire or sunlight. She also helped in the Battle of the Astronomy Tower and contributed dangerous plants to the Battle of Hogwarts. She helped treat injured wizards with various healing tinctures and potions. It's sort of funny how there are so many similarities between herbs in the magical realm and herbs in Harry Potter. I mean, mandrake root, valerian root. I guess those are the only two I can name off the top of my head. It's almost like the Sims team drew inspiration from it. Actually, though, they did a pretty good job of making The Sims its own thing, but still paying homage to Harry Potter with the magical realm, wizarding duels, the three different houses, or types of magic, I guess, and the town with shops in it that looks just like Diagon Alley. They have very original CIS items as well, and I'm glad they made sure not to take much from the Victorian style like vampires did. I know I plan to play this pack far into the future, even if my mage sims end up going to college and brewing potions in their dorm rooms. I wish I could make this Hogwarts version into a university. That'd be really cool. I don't think you can do that though. As far as I know, the two universities, Foxbury and Brightchester, are pretty locked in. As for which one I'm gonna choose, I kind of like the modern style more, even though I like the dragon mascot more. So I'll probably end up choosing the lobster one, Foxberry. Anyway, by now we've moved on to furnishing the rest of the upstairs. It's all just kind of walls and floors. We add in a couple of things here and there, and I fixed that stairwell because it looked really weird with the brick turning into wood. But we fixed it up. And it's kind of good to have a little bit of color variation. I had a lot of brown going on upstairs before I added in this gray, so I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. And you saw me creating another little study nook. Um, there's a lot of study nooks in this build. I just didn't really know what else to do in a school besides create study nooks along with all of the, professor studies and classes and stuff like that. Oh, and dorm rooms and bathrooms. I mean, what else is there in a school, right? I don't really see any reason for there to be anything else in particular besides like the kitchen and the basement area. Here we're just getting the correct lighting in place, and I thought I'd go ahead and add a little bit of storage underneath the stairs, just because having just open stairs like that, I don't know, I feel like people always put things underneath the stairs, and if you're not putting things underneath the stairs, I mean, what are you even using that space for? You gotta use it for something. And I don't think a sim could walk under those. They might be tall enough though, because it's at the tallest build height. But there's no way I was gonna put another study nook underneath the stairs. That'd be ridiculous. Although it would be kind of funny to put like that wouldn't make any sense. Harry Potter's bedroom there. But he doesn't have that bedroom in Hogwarts. That's like the whole thing. He escapes from his home away from in his home away from home. And here we're just figuring out the layout. I thought that it didn't really make a whole lot of sense to have that back part so open, so we're gonna make that another study nook. Lots of places to study in Hogwarts. No excuses. Work hard. Uh, I really should convert one of these study nooks into like another potions room because currently there's only one cauldron in the entirety of this build, and I feel like we need more for the amount of quote unquote students that we have in this game, considering they changed a bunch of the townies into mages and stuff. So I should probably make one of those into a cauldron. But all the study rooms look so good. And that room that I just laid out um, was so perfect. And it ends up looking so good. I don't really want to change it. Anyhoozle, we've moved on to Professor McGonagall's study, which is right below Professor Dumbledore's study, so you can kind of see the whole hierarchy between McGonagall, Snape, and Dumbledore. I've tried to incorporate as much maroon and golden warmth into her study as possible because she may be no nonsense and strict, but she's also a very warm and caring individual. I might be a little biased though because I am a Gryffindor and she is the Gryffindor head of house and I just love her. But if you'd watched my previous video on the creation of the Transfiguration Classroom, you would already know that. I totally recommend watching that one before you watch this one, by the way. It gives you some good context, and I'm not going as in depth into the characters as I did in that one, because who the heck wants to watch repeat content? Anyway, we're almost at the end of her office. You'll see I'm adding in the Sword of Gryffindor and a little bit more decoration up there. Yeah, I think we're about done. Oh, I'm adding in a couple of tomes because she's very studious. She was almost put in Ravenclaw actually, which would have been okay, but I would have been sad about it 'cause she wouldn't have been a Gryffindor, and I don't know who else would have been the Gryffindor head of house. So it just makes more sense for her to be the Gryffindor head of house. Plus, she's so brave. She's so brave. I don't really have anything to back that up right now, but she is. Trust. Ah, it ends up looking so good at the end. I'm pretty proud of how all the studies turned out actually. Oh, and then we're putting in the owlery. So, The Sims 4 doesn't have any owls, but what they do have is an owl familiar. So I put an owl familiar, the 6M owl, it's just on a pedestal in there. Be like, this is the owlery. Yes. Oh, and then I start working on this study. I thought that I'd already done this study. Um, I really love how this study turned out. I'm pretty proud of it. Although now that I'm looking at it, I kind of feel like it should be a potions room plus study. Do you think, I don't know if I could fit a potion, uh, excuse me, cauldron in there, actually. Yeah, yeah, I don't think so. I wish there were more colors in the Realm of Magic set for build and buy mode. It mostly just comes with blue and maybe a little bit of red, but it doesn't match perfectly with the red, and I kind of wish it did. I don't know. I feel like the Ravenclaw common room looks the most put together because the blue stuff matches the best with all of the other colors in the set. Give me more swatches, Sims team. Give me more swatches. Ooh, yeah, a chessboard. I forgot that I added a chessboard in this room, but you know, the whole wizard's chess thing is really important, so I thought I would. And no worries, I did test walking in between. Yeah, you can see my sim right there, Vivian. Walking in between those two chairs is okay. She can fit, so everything's fine. And then I thought I'd add a bit more artwork in here. It seemed a little bit boring. I wonder if I remembered to add in a journal or some sort of studying materials on that desk. Now that I think about it, I don't think I did. Yeah, I'm moving right over to start working on the rest of this place. And I'm just sort of going around trying to figure out the layout. And I think we decide on putting, yeah, we'll put the bathroom in that far right corner. And then we're going to put the study room in that weird L-shaped room. There's not much else you can do there. Yeah, there's just I guess you could put like an easel there, but it makes more sense to have a study room on the Ravenclaw level, just because Ravenclaws are known for studying and the pursuit of knowledge, you know, that whole shtick. Um, anyway, let's talk about some Ravenclaw lore. So, Ravenclaw was founded by Rowena Ravenclaw, who was a Scottish witch that lived sometime in the 10th century. We all know the part of the story where she, Helga, Salazar, and Godric created Hogwarts, but did you know that she is theoried to have chosen the location and name of Hogwarts based on a dream where a warty hog led her to a cliff by a lake? Isn't that silly? She also came up with the ever-changing staircases. She valued intelligence, wisdom, and cleverness in her students, and coincidentally, many of them were Muggle-born, leading to the whole conflict with Salazar, who wanted the Muggle-born wizards gone. The more I learn about her house, the more I'm positive Hermione should have been a Ravenclaw. I mean, intelligence, clever, Muggle-born. She shares so many attributes with Ravenclaws, it's crazy. But anyway, Rowena was the first to die of all the founders after falling dreadfully ill. Some attribute her death to a broken heart after her daughter Helena ran away with the Ravenclaw diadem because she was jealous of her mother's wisdom. It's really a sad story. Rowena sent Helena's old lover afterward to bring her back so that she could see her daughter one last time before her death. When Helena refused to come back, her lover stabbed her in a fit of rage and then killed himself from the guilt. Rowena never got to see her daughter before her death, unless her daughter came back to Hogwarts as a ghost before she died, but I doubt that would have happened. In fact, I'm fairly certain Harry has like a whole conversation with her about the Horcruxes, because the Ravenclaw diadem ends up turning into a Horcrux after Tom Riddle uh, charms her into telling him where she hid it. Oh, here we go. I found the passage. I stole the diadem. I sought to make myself cleverer, more important than my mother. I ran away with it. My mother, they say, never admitted that the diadem was gone, but pretended she had it still. She concealed her loss, my dreadful betrayal, even from the other founders of Hogwarts. Then my mother fell ill, fatally ill, in spite of my perfidy. She was desperate to see me one more time. She sent a man who had long loved me, though I spurned his advances to find me. She knew that he would not rest until he had done so. That was Helena the Ghost. Anyway, guys, we're coming to the end of this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys soon.